Hello, this is Chris Goldthorpe. If this is your first visit to this site and you're a new chess player, you want to subscribe to this and share. Let your chess friends know. This particular video is called Scotch Mate. It's one of the very few that you can just type it into the general YouTube search instead of coming to my channel first. So this one is going to be on the Scotch Gambit, but it's not going to be a comprehensive video on the Scotch Gambit. I might do one of those later on, or the Scotch game, or the attendant possible offshoots such as the two knights defense. But the purpose of this video is for you to see a particular checkmating pattern that can come up from the Scotch Gambit or from the two knights defense where white plays the d4 variation. So when white plays the Italian game, most of my students, I have them simply respond with bishop to c5 because of the sharpness of the knight g5 variation. And although there is nothing technically wrong with the two knights defense, a lot of newer players get themselves in trouble with this variation. And some people, as white, get themselves in trouble with this variation, where it becomes extremely complicated. Of the so-called Traxler variation, it was said to be head-splitting complications. That was Nick DeFermian's comment in the old MCO. And this is not a good way for black to deal with this knight g5 move, but that's for another video. Although technically this is probably white's best move, there's another variation which can be very useful here, and not this one. This one, if you're black, I recommend that you just do the fork trick. So if you haven't seen that before, it's going to essentially look like this. Okay, there's three moves that I consider to be good moves here for white: d3, d4, or this knight g5 move. Okay, so without going into all of those here, because this is not a general video on the two knights defense or the Scotch game, it's just to show you this checkmating pattern, which would come up after white makes this move, and then black goes here, and then white could castle. I'll mention in passing, e5 is also a good variation for white. Well, we can get to that same position if you look at this position from the Scotch game move order, where this happens first and this happens, then the bishop comes out, and then if black agrees to do this move, you're in the same position. Of course, by then he might decide to do this. And that takes us down an entirely different rabbit hole that we can examine another time. So let's look at when he makes this move. Okay, this transposes into the variation here, as you know, after white plays d4. And now, if black takes, white can castle. And knight takes e4 is a decent move for black, one of his best. This is a good move for white. Most of the engines give knight takes pawn is better. d5 looks like it's killing for black. You know, black could think, okay, I'm 2 pawns ahead here, but if you know this opening, you know you can play this move. And now the knight's in trouble. So he almost has to do this. If you haven't seen this before, you should try to find the next move by shutting off the video here. But it's this one. This attacks the queen and the knight. Of course, the knight can't move because he's pinned. The pawn can't capture unless black wants to lose his queen. So you could certainly make the case that there might be a better move here than black's queen a5, but this is a popular book move. Here I recommend to take the black knight with your knight And now, if black plays properly, he's going to put his bishop here. And this might be covered in a video on this opening, where black might elect to go here. Black castles out of trouble. White recovers material. Black completes his development. White goes here. And since this is a video, you can watch this several times again if you wish, but you'll need more information than this to play this opening as black or white at a higher level. This might be all you need to know for now, is how to survive this as black without falling into the trap shown here. So we say castles, knight takes, rook e1, d5 takes, queen takes, the knight comes out, queen moves away, takes the knight, and now if black were to make this mistake, pinning the knight, preparing to castle, might look like a good move. White has a checkmate in 2 moves, and it starts with this double check, and the king is of course forced here, and then this is a checkmate. So this video is going to replace the old video that I had here called Scotch Mate, and you will find this one instead. And it shouldn't be too hard for you to memorize that sequence of moves that we just saw. After d4 takes, castles, knight takes e4, 6, rook e1, d5, 7, bishop takes d5, queen takes d5, move 8, knight to c3 and queen a5, move 9, knight takes e4, and the proper move for black is bishop e6, but if he makes this mistaken move, we have a mate in 2. By the way, instead of making the proper move bishop e6, if black makes a different mistake, bishop to d7, now this bishop is going to control e8, so the mate in 2 doesn't work. So now we're just going to win the black queen with double check. This move is absolutely forced. We could win the rook by going here, but why do that if we can go here with check and win the queen? Okay, so those of you who have been asked to watch this video, Scotch Mate, now have a better, new improved version to watch. So watch it until you memorize all that's here, because there's not a lot here. This is just a starting place, not a finishing place. There are several good videos on YouTube on the Scotch game, on the Gioco Piano, on the 2 Knights defense, and the other openings that can come from this sort of position. So while you're at it, please do visit chrischess.com. Also, if you're in charge of any sort of a learning facility, school, daycare, anything like that, chesseducator.co. Meanwhile, you can always get to this YouTube page by getting to youtube.com/user/cgoldthorpe/videos. Thanks for watching.